morning, buenos dias, Puerto Rico, for the people from my island talking with us and seeing this video after we're gonna be starting recording. So today we have one of the greats. We have the privilege to talk with Dr. Eric Rubin, which is one of chiropractor and educator, creator of Tao Essentials. So Dr. Rubin has dedicated decades helping people arrive and achieve greater awareness, connection, and expression through understanding the body, energy, and the principles of the Tao. So, we are excited to explore the journey, philosophy, and what participants can expect from Tao Essentials coming to Puerto Rico for the first time. So, my pleasure to having you officially on this conversation, Dr. Rubin.
Thank you very much. It's such an honor to be here with you, and I cannot even tell you how excited I am to bring this work to the island. I'm very much looking forward to it. Just on a personal level, I've never been to Puerto Rico, and so I'm very eager to take in some of the magic and the culture. And also, I didn't even know really that there was chiropractic school there until you reached out to
Mhm.
me. And so it's like a whole untapped potential of people to reach.
For
So
sure.
it's great. Yeah.
For sure. It will be a pleasure. It will be a definite blast. So, starting with a question, the first one is Dr. Eric, for those who may not know. Can you share a little bit about your journey into chiropractic and what led you to explore the world of the Tao and bring Tao essentials to life?
Yeah, thank you. So my journey into chiropractic came as a journey into the healing arts more generally. I was a hands-on practitioner. I was doing craniosacral work and energy healing and different kinds of body work and myofascial work for about 7 years before I became a chiropractor. And that work put me in touch with chiropractors, and I worked with them in their practices and really
Mm,
got a flavor for different kinds of chiropractic before I launched myself into school and decided that that was the next step in my journey to take my skills to the level of mastery that I was learning that chiropractic could really provide me. And so I'm very grateful for those early experiences I had because I kind of came into it not really knowing exactly what chiropractic was. I didn't grow up going to chiropractors. It was something that happened later in my life. And I had no idea when I enrolled in chiropractic school that chiropractic was built on this rich and thriving vitalistic philosophy.
yeah.
And that was what really lit me up more than anything. It's like I discovered it almost by accident. I went to school thinking I was going to become this like next level doctor practitioner and realized oh, like one of my dear teachers, Arnaud Bernier, would say, doctor
Mm,
means teacher, right? Like, and how do you become a teacher of health, a teacher of vitalism, a teacher of the innate wisdom of the body to an entire population that's not getting that message anywhere else? And so, yeah, I loved chiropractic school. Sometimes I travel places and I meet students that are, challenged by it or feeling
yeah.
kind of like, that they signed up for one thing and they're like learning all this stuff and like, what am I going to do with it? And so for me, the Tao Essentials class is a way of bringing together the left and the right
Mm,
brain. It's about kind of merging through that sort of like building a bridge, like the corpus callosum, right? Like a bridge
yeah.
between your capacity for analysis and articulation and like detailed assessment, and then intuitive flow, innate mind, like deep, almost spiritual connection with the body and the energetics. And then the two of those, rather than being at odds with each other, how much more powerful if you could get a seminar to help people work at that intersection
Mm,
between yin and yang, between left and right, between the capacity to work with what you can analyze and know or educated mind and what you can intuit and sort of um, almost like I don't even know how to say it. It's like the wisdom that just arises when you're in your flow. And so
yeah.
the whole purpose of the Tao Essentials is to help people move out of like just technique or just innate or organic connection and bring the two together so that we can have a more holistic approach. And so there are different kinds of ways to adjust, right? Some adjustments, like you were reading about the 12
Yeah.
stages of healing, right? Like there's very light contact, right? Addressing more of
Hmm.
the energetics and the connective tissue component of the body. Other forces are much deeper, and you want to work with all those myofascial elements, all those
Yeah.
contractile fibers that are pulling our spine and our nervous system out of alignment. And then, of course,
Yeah.
there's the tried and true, the precision of the osseous work. And what if chiropractic embodied all of those different dimensions
Mm.
fundamentally, and that an adjustment could be something light as a feather, deep as an elbow in the glute, or as perfectly precise as an occiput lift, or like a deep structural T1 adjustment. Like
Mm.
all of those are in play at the Tao Essentials, and we're going to look at those different. When John Martinez and I, he was actually uh, my dear friend John. He was the one who sort of had the brainstorm for the Tao, and so
Yeah.
he kind of recruited me to collaborate with him and to start this whole process. And we did this together for maybe 4 or 5 years before the pandemic happened, and
Yeah.
then by the time we were traveling again after that, he had really gone fully into the Numa work, and I was already teaching with BGI and stuff like that. And so I picked
Yeah.
up the Tao and started running with it after the
Yeah.
pandemic. And so um, that's a little bit about the background and a little bit about the philosophical overview of the material.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of love what you talk about. I kind of mixing the yin and yang because I really connect myself with that kind of perspective. Because at the end, how can we make it use the intelligence and the creativity on the same place? Because we can follow a
Yeah.
technique like from top to bottom, but sometimes you just gotta flow what you're having at the moment of having the adjustment. Because I would kind of call it like a dance. Because at the moment of you're dancing, you have to improve and do certain movements in certain directions and not necessarily you were thinking about them while you were doing it, but it's kind of about going in your flow state. So I kind of love how you explain that because probably that's how chiropractic maybe should be sometimes.
There's an internet meme that was going around a while ago that really expresses the essence of the Tao quite beautifully.
Mm,
And it's one circle, it's like a black circle, and it says discipline, right? Excuse
yeah.
me, it says surrender, and the white circle says discipline. And where they overlap is essentially neurologically where we are in
Yeah.
flow, and you love it, like the neurology of being in flow, of being in synchronicity, of being
Yeah.
connected with forces that are within you but also greater than you moving through you. And so that brings us to this like precision of detail that
Hmm.
educated mind can bring, but also a kind of knowingness, or a kind
Hmm.
of like allowing yourself to be led by the wisdom of the body on the table rather than imposing your technique on the body. And so you
For
bring your
sure.
technique, but you surrender, right? You use your
Mm.
discipline, but then, and so there's this beautiful
Surrender.
ebb and flow, this movement back and forth between sharp eyes, convergent vision, and soft eyes or divergent vision. And so you're
Mm.
focusing and relaxing, you're connecting and you're adjusting fiercely, but there's always this nurturing and supportive element. And so I love that you use the metaphor of the dance. If you take dance classes and you try to bring in the steps, it's going to be kind of awkward, right? It's a good baseline for
Yeah, for sure.
learning, but at a certain point, you have to surrender and move in the rhythm of your partner. And so I bring many different, I call it skills building, right? Like different ways of, um, they're like games. When Dr. Cantina and I teach together, we like to play games with people and try to get them to
Yeah.
challenge themselves and move out of their comfort zone, like very simple, basic, um, playful, but challenging ways of breaking out of the box that everybody has a box that they put chiropractic in. And so how can we bend that? How can we pry it open? How can we get people taking risks and expanding into parts of their nervous system that they don't ordinarily
Yeah.
access? And so yes, there's a mind component and a technical component and a very precise way of understanding the neuroanatomy and how we're adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very, I don't know other word other than like supportive or nurturing or a kind of way of like bringing the body into rapport or bringing yourself into rapport with the body so that you can dance together and make something kind of magical and unique happen each time you step in to adjust rather than just trying to reproduce some sort of technical adjustment every time you
Yeah.
connect. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And what I love about that is that we kind of make a unique approach for each person, each people that arrives to our clinic, or everyone that we see is kind of a different new game. It's kind of a whole new world you got to explore. And while you're dancing, like while you're doing the adjustment, palpation, you're able to decipher what can we do with this
hmm,
body. It's kind of a Rubik's cube. You kind of try to decipher that kind of color pattern until you find the perfect combination. And that's how I like to see chiropractic, because at the end, and that's what I love when I first talked with Katina Manning, because
hmm.
she always talk about play shop. It's not a workshop, but it's a play shop. It's kind of a
That's
more
right.
like a game. If you keep thinking about it like a game, it is a little bit more like you feel happy at the moment, because at the end we have to feel like burst on in our body, has to feel like on his perfect symphony, like on his perfect
That's right.
synchronicity. Like you have to be in connection with yourself before connecting with another one. And you're
That
able
is,
to do that once you feel happy, once you feel love, joy. And that's what I love about having this kind of perspective, because sometimes chiropractors can get like consumed by the idea
mhm.
of following a certain patterns, repeat them one, two, three times, and not having a capacity to change throughout the process. So definitely that will be some important factors to be talked about in Tao Essentials.
Yeah, yeah. The whole meaning of the Tao or the Tao, depending on how you pronounce it, is that like there is a path that can be walked only by you. Nobody else can walk
Yeah,
your path. You
yeah.
cannot do anybody else's work
Mm,
but your own. And ultimately, the only technique that will work for you is your own application, your own blend or alchemy of educated mind and intuitive or innate understanding. And so I love this idea of trying to, it's almost like you have to get out of your own way. You have to be able to let go at a certain point, right? And then when you get lost, if you get overwhelmed, then you have tools that you can focus into and bring you back. And then when you get too in your head, right? Because you cannot adjust from your head. An adjustment is a full body experience. And so you're absolutely right. The chiropractor
hmm
has to be present within themselves. They have to be connected to the physical body, but also to the energetics that move through it. There's a kind of a, well, let's put it this way. The chiropractor is not separate from the adjustment, right?
mm,
Like
mm,
who we are and who we are being and how we are conducting ourselves in our bodies and in our lives is an essential component to the adjustment that can be received from the person on the table. And even people that follow a very
hmm
specific technique, like when you step in to meet that person, like no body is the same as any other body, and no approach or no force
hmm
application is ever going to be the same twice. Even though it looks similar from the outside, each time it's a unique and magical, very specific and never to be
hmm
reproduced experience. And I think that's where the magic is for me, is like pursuing that edge,
hmm
pursuing that flow where like what I know and what I don't know are like right on the edge of that. I love this quote from John DeMartini, right? He says, like, your whole life is
mm,
living on the border between chaos and order, right? It's like
mm,
adjusting is the same thing. It's like you're right there. It's like it's almost almost like, what am I? It's like I'm right on the edge of what I understand, and yet somehow I'm being directed and guided through this magical dance with this person. And it's a kind of a stake, I don't know, BJ called it a sacred trust, right? Like there's a kind of sacred quality to it that I think gets lost sometimes in the I'll just say the musculoskeletal subset of the medical profession that a lot of schools
Hmm.
approach. And so, hopefully, to bring this vitalistic approach back into people's hands so that it's not lost. That's
Yep.
really the goal of the Tao. To find for each chiropractor to find their own way to express their own gifts
Mm.
and to feel empowered. And so, if you're coming to the Tao looking for a specific technique, this isn't it. This is a way of bringing your skills
Mm.
into play and up a level so that you can really create your own magic and create your own artful expression as a chiropractor.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, I wrote down two different phrases you mentioned, and the one, there is a path that can only be walked by you. That's basically a definition of what we can say we can expect from Tao Essentials.
Yeah.
Because at the end, it's everyone's having a different experience. Even though you're gonna be talking about a specific topic,
Mhm.
everyone having their different minds in different perspective and time. So they will be receiving information and understanding it in different ways. So at the end, you'll be walking your own path, even though you're gonna be receiving the same information as the others. So that said,
Beautifully
what
said.
can the
Beautifully said.
people?
Yes.
I know. I just went in my flow state right there. So that said, what can the people expect from Dr. Eric Rubin on October 2nd to the 4th?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So the seminar always begins with a philosophical
Yep.
portal, right? We try to open a portal in which we can land people's questions and their understanding of
Yep.
chiropractic. And so we're going to explore the intersection between the vitalistic philosophy of chiropractic and the
Yep.
vitalistic perspective of the Tao. And so, BJ was a very deep student of the Eastern mystical traditions. And so we're going to take
Yep.
a look at how some of the roots of our philosophy connect to this very ancient philosophy that arose out of China maybe 2,600 years ago, right? And
Yep.
so there'll be some application, and then we're going to go into the fun and games of it, right? Like, well,
Mm.
after a little philosophy talk, there's going to be an experiment with essentially how to tune into your nervous
Hmm.
system in a way that's going to communicate this yin and yang approach, right? The
Beautiful.
yang is the focus, the yang is the intention, the yang is the kind of like sharp and specific way, and then there's that supportive, nurturing, maternal, like how to hold the body in just the right way. And so we're going to bring this left and right into play, and we're going to do it with some games, and we're also going to challenge you to go deeper,
Mm.
right? Like
Hmm.
I have a teacher in from the craniosacral tradition that had a beautiful phrase, and he said, if you want to go deep with people in your adjusting, you have to be deep. And so
Hmm.
how to help people drop into their own depths. Sometimes we think we know, but then we realize like, oh my God, like I like this like so I have some ways of challenging you into presence and challenging you into grounding
Hmm.
and challenge you to go deeper with yourself and with other people because we can only go as deep with other people as we're willing to go within ourselves. And so
Hmm.
we have to start there. If the whole foundation of the Tao is built on connection, as you already beautifully said, we have to be able to connect within ourselves before we can actually connect with the person we're trying to adjust. In other words,
Hmm.
chiropractic isn't something you do to somebody. It's something that
Mm.
emerges between beings, and it has a physical, an emotional, a chemical, and a spiritual dimension. And so all of those have to be recruited and brought into play, ideally by the chiropractor, right? And so, yes, we lead the dance, but we're also dancers. And we're participants in the
Hmm.
adjustment as much as we are conductors of it. And so I And then there's 2 days of exploring full spine adjusting through light touch, through deep osseous input, and through
Mm,
unwinding the myofascial system. And these are all, it's not like one is a preparation for the adjustment only being osseous. In my world, the adjustment is what John Martinez and I call the full tonal range, right?
mm,
You're adjusting people with light input, adjusting people with deep myofascial unwinding, and adjusting people when the body's ready for just incredibly deep but easeful, able to be received osseous forces. And,
mm,
you know, I feel very lucky to have had a yin and a yang teacher as a chiropractic student, right? I had
mm,
Arnaud Bernier and the masterpiece work. And then I had Sue Brown and the biogeometric integration work.
mhm.
And those two, I feel like I carry both of those traditions when I teach. And there'll be,
Yeah.
a lot of dynamism and force and a lot of deep, like very detailed, precise awareness of how bodies distort in relationship to the forces they cannot integrate that chiropractors call subluxation patterns. And so in my world,
Mhm.
an adjustment or a subluxation is not just one bone being out of place relative to the vertebra above and the vertebra below, but it's a global distortion that carries
Mhm.
information from an experience that we could not fully integrate at the time we had the experience. And so when we're adjusting, there's an awareness that we're not just moving a bone, but we're releasing a potential lesson and a potential vast library of information into the body that needs to be integrated. And so
Beautiful.
it's a different experience. It's process driven. People, when they're getting adjusted this way, they're on the table for a little bit more time and they have a chance to explore, breathe, move, unwind, and
Mm,
really integrate stored material um, in their bodies, but yes, in their psyche as well.
I mean, we can basically like summarize this whole conversation with the following phrase. If you wanna go deeper, you gotta go deep first.
Yeah, you got to be deep. You
So
got to
that
become
is
deep. You have to explore your
yeah.
depth.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're going to
yeah,
come to
that
this
that
seminar,
phrase.
come be prepared to fully engage, right? Like,
Yes,
come prepared to drop as deeply into yourself, maybe as you've ever been, and be both challenged but also inspired at the same time while you do that. Yeah, it's
yeah.
a
So for
seminar of
sure.
self-discovery as well as
Mm,
practical skill building and application. And just know that
love it.
we're going to touch and work with every aspect of the spine, but also other parts of the body as well.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. For sure, if someone hearing this video or audio or whichever way you like more, if you want to go deeper into Tao Essentials, come with us in October 2nd to 4th in Puerto Rico, specifically in Sadhana Healing Arts in Avenida de Diego in
Mhm.
San Juan. If you want more information about the event, send a message to Dr. Rubin through his social media. You can contact me directly to the Chironaut in the different social medias. Or if you have my number, just hit me a message. And with that, I can say thank you, Dr. Rubin, for having a space to talk about a little bit in what can we expect from Tao Essentials. And we'll see you soon.
Can't wait. Really looking forward to it, and it's going to be over the break. So hopefully, we'll get a lot of people
Yes,
making it a holiday and joining us on your beautiful island. And I can't wait to see it myself. Thank you for making this opportunity available.
for sure. So,
Yeah.
to anyone here in this video, see you on October 2nd to the 4th.
Yeah, and spread the word. Yeah, it's great.